Hello and welcome to the last video of this series. So the last video is all about learning something which is called as mode. Now what exactly is a mode? So let me try and explain. But before that, what I've done is behind the scenes I've created this file mode.ex inside central tendency, and let us see now how we can find the mode of our elements. So what exactly do we mean by mode? So mode is basically the element which repeats most often. So for example, if we have this array of values, then the mode of this values would be the values that are repeating the most. Now in this example, the most repeating values are 4 and 8. That's why the mode of this is 4 and 8. Now you must be thinking, what is the use of mode? So let me try and help you why mode is very important. Now suppose these values actually stand for the product ID of the candies which Louis is selling. So for example, 1 could be the product ID for the red candies, 2 could be the product ID for the yellow one, 3 could be for the green one. So by finding out the mode, we can understand which candies Louis was able to sell the most. So in this example, we can say that the candy with the ID of 4 and the candy with the ID of 8 were the most popular candies inside the store. So let us see how we can find out mode. So I have given the steps over here. So it's basically a 3-step process. The first is we have to find the number of occurrences or the frequencies. Next, we have to find the maximum number of occurrences. And finally, we have to group the elements which have the maximum occurrences. Now, instead of directly writing the code this time, let me show you inside the IEX how you can find the solution for this one. So let me just copy this one and let me open up my terminal. So let me go inside my IEX and let me clear up the screen. Now, if we refer to the steps, the first step is we have to find the occurrences or the frequencies. So let me paste the values right over here. And we can find out the frequencies by using the inbuilt function. So we can pipe these values to enum.frequencies, and here it is. So now we have all of the values and their frequencies as well. So what I would like to do is I would like to simply save this in a variable called as ranked map. So now we have a ranked map. The next step is we have to find the maximum number of occurrences. So let us see how we can do that. Let me clear up my screen. So now we have the ranked map. For finding out the maximum number of occurrences, what we can do is we can take the ranked map, and from this map, let us simply take the values. So we can say map.values, and let us see how it looks like. So these are just the values. The next is we simply have to find the maximum value out of this map. So what we can do is we can pipe this one into yet another function called as enum.max, and here it is. So the maximum number any value is repeating is thrice. And if we refer to our map, we can see that 4 is repeating thrice and 8 is also repeating thrice. Now there is a small caveat for finding out the mode. In case the elements are not repeating more than once, in that case, we can't find out the mode. But if we have elements which are repeating more than once, only in that case we can find a valid mode. So now let me do one thing. Let me copy this one and let me save this into yet another variable called as max. Let me clear up all of these things. So now we have the ranked map and we also have the maximum count. The next step is we simply have to filter this ranked map for the maximum number of occurrences. So in this case, we saw that 4 is repeating thrice and 8 is also repeating thrice. So we simply want to filter it out. So let us see how we can do this. So for this, what we can do is we can take the ranked map and then we can use the function called as map.filter. Now this function accepts 2 parameters. The first is your map and the second is your anonymous function. So let us write a function right over here. Now for each iteration, this function is going to receive the key and also the value pairs from our map. And for each iteration, we simply want to filter out for the values where the value is equal to our maximum count. So now we have a filtered map. The next step is we simply have to take out the keys and that's it. So let us see how we can do that. So we can take this exact same expression and then we can say that we just want to take the keys from our map, and that's it. We have our final answer. So let us go back to the code editor and let us see how we can do all of these things right over here. Now for this example, I am not going to do all of the validation and error reporting because I suppose you know how to do all of those things. So let us directly go inside and see how to write the functions for our mode. So let me take all of these things up, and here let us define a function, and here we can say that we want to define a function called as mode. Now this function receives a parameter which is the list of numbers. So I can simply add a guard over here. So is list for my numbers. Now if you want, you can do all of the extra validation, but for this video I'm not going to do the validation. So the first step was finding the frequencies. So let me create a variable called as ranked map, and here what we can do is we can simply take the numbers and let us pipe those numbers to enum.frequencies. Next what we can do is let us try and find the maximum number of occurrences. So for that what we can do is we can take the ranked map, we can pipe this function into map.values. So now we have all of the values with us. Next let us find out the maximum number of occurrences. So we can pipe this into yet another function enum.max. So now we have the ranked map and we also have the maximum number of occurrences. Now the last thing to do is we simply have to filter out our ranked map, and for that let us create a helper function. So here let us pipe this into yet another helper function by the name of mode_func. Now this function is going to accept two parameters. The first parameter would be for the maximum number of occurrences, and the second parameter would be for the ranked map itself. So let me define a private function mode_func. Now this function accepts two parameters. The first parameter is for the maximum number of occurrences. The second parameter is for our ranked of map. Now here we need to take care of one more condition, and that is we can find mode only if the number of occurrences are more than one. So for this function definition, let us have a pattern match right over here. So we can say that in case the maximum number of occurrences are 1, in that case we simply have to ignore the ranked map because we can't find out the mode, and let us simply return back nil. But in case we have the occurrences which are more than 1, so to handle that situation, let us define one more function overload right over here. So we can say mode_func, and the first parameter was for the maximum value, the second parameter was for our ranked map. So let's take the ranked map, and next we simply have to filter it out. So we can say map.filter, and here let us define the anonymous function. So we can say function. Now for each iteration this is going to receive the key and also the value, and what we need to do is we simply want to filter it out when the value is equal to our max. And the last thing is we simply have to take out the keys from this one. So we can say map.keys. Now the last thing to do is let us go to our stats.ex and let us create a def delegate right over here. So we can say def delegate. Let us create a function for the mode. This also accepts our numbers list, and we simply want to delegate this to the module of mode, but first let us import it right over here. So we can say we also want to import mode, and this one we simply want to delegate to mode. Now let me collapse my sidebar and let me open up my terminal. Now let us recompile this one more time and let me clear up everything. So now we can call stats.mode and let me pass the values right over here. And as expected, we get back the answer as 4 and 8. Well, this brings us to the end of this course. But before I can say my final words, I wanted to show you a couple of things. Now, if you refer to the code from my GitHub repository, so which is this one, now inside my official GitHub repository, what I have done is I have implemented two more functionality which are under the folder of variability. The first one is about variance. The second one is all about your standard deviation. Now I am not going to cover these parts inside this tutorial series because I think they are more towards your mathematical modeling and statistics. While this course was designed to give you a fair idea about functional programming in Elixir, but I have kept them for your reference. You can refer them and you can see how I am able to model variance and standard deviation for statistics. Well, that's it from me, and I will catch you in the next one.